I'm Joni De Winter.
And I am Susan Grant.
And we are Bell Street,
who are an events band and production company.
And we're here to talk to you about our fun and failures
on our journey from being scared to doing it anyway.
Welcome to our final episode in season 3 of the Not Just BS podcast.
Yes.
How do you feel that season 3 has gone?
Well, it's been fun.
Yeah.
And frustrating. Frustrating in the sense that, as we have said before, the tech always flummoxes us somehow. But it has. It's been really fun to talk to different guests and get their ideas and their approach on things.
It's been nice having the view of we're not just doing one season at a time. It's been nice knowing that we've committed to 3 seasons this year, because that means we can plan ahead a bit more. Mm-hmm. That's been a nice feeling.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't know how you guys feel about the engagement and the promotion. We always love to hear feedback if it's polite. Although my dad did try to give me some feedback yesterday and it didn't go down well. I was like, oh, Dad, I just wanted you to tell me it was good and that you liked it. And he was like, I do. Yes. But anyway, we've tried to mix things up with how we promote it, how we talk about it, our lives. On the Wednesday mornings. We've been going live at 11 a.m. to discuss our takeaways from the podcast and hopefully have some discussions with you. Currently, there's not many people there, are there?
No, but people do come and watch it afterwards.
Yes, actually, they do. And we realise that 11 a.m. on a Wednesday is a ridiculous time to do it.
Yeah. But if you do find yourself free, do join us on a Wednesday at 11.
Yes, please.
We will be on Instagram.
Because we really want to build up the engagement and we want this podcast to be as useful for us, you, the C Freudian slip, as useful for you as it is for us. But also, we want as many people to hear it as possible so that our hours of blood, sweat and tears aren't wasted.
So, as our last one today, we put out a little call to ask for some questions. So we thought we did this at the end of the last series and we thought it was quite fun.
Yes, and we force our guests to send us questions as well, the guests who have been on that season. And in our ice bucket of joy,
lovely,
no ice or wine in it, just questions. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and do it, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. Shake the bucket.
Whose question will be first?
Okay.
Question number 1. We have
Brian.
If you had to have a third member into your group, which celebrity would you have?
If we had to have a third member in our group, well, why fix what isn't broken? That's what I say. But celebrity.
It's a celebrity, yeah.
Celebrity. So we'd have to agree.
Yeah, we would have to agree, yes.
That would make it work better, I suppose, if we agreed on it. Okay, so who do we mutually like? And I suppose they have to be able to sing or rap.
I'd have Paloma Faith.
Would you?
Yeah.
That would make me really happy, although I wasn't
a big fan for a while and she's really grown on me and now I think that'd be fun.
Okay.
But we'd be really intimidated though, wouldn't we?
Yeah. Would we just end up being backing singers?
Yeah.
Would it just be hilarious to have someone like Miranda Hart? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be good.
I feel like she'd be fully enthusiastic.
Yes.
But I don't know. Yeah, Paloma Faith. I really like Paloma Faith. So yeah, I often wonder, would we get on in real life when they say don't meet your heroes? But like you say, she's been a lot more vocal recently. I feel like we know her a bit better now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, at least we could agree
on board with that.
Agree with that.
I bet she's short though.
Oh, I don't know. Then
I bet she's short, but she'd be on board with the costumes.
Yes,
and she'd probably write us some really good songs.
Yeah.
We could stop talking about all the songs we write and she'd be like, I wrote it. And we'd be like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Can we have this line in it? No, because it's rubbish. Good. And she has a really good band.
She does.
Yeah, and a great relationship with her band. So we could we could poach them as part of her.
Well, that was easier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I thought we
Maybe
were going to come to fisticuffs.
just give her a ring.
Send her a message. She could come on the podcast. She has a podcast.
Yeah.
We have a podcast. I feel like that could be mutually beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Put it on the list. Here we go. So we have a question here from Kerry.
We have a brilliant local radio station that just goes from strength to strength, and it only covers things in Shaftesbury, and the topics are wide and very varied. But do you know what? They do such a brilliant job, don't they?
They do. Mm-hmm.
And we have a little slot on. It's called Alfred Radio.
Yeah.
And we have a little slot every Sunday on Alfred Radio where it's nothing like this. We just talk.
Which is what we're doing now.
We just bumble along. And it's called Joni and Susan's Sunday Best. And we talk about wardrobe malfunctions and ridiculous things.
Do you know what? Someone stopped me in Morrison's yesterday.
Oh, what about that?
And said, I recognise your voice from somewhere. And I went through everything. And then she went, oh no, you do Alfred. I was like, yes, I do.
Yes. I forget that we're so used to being quite exposed on here that we then just tell really like vulnerable stories, and then the whole of Shaftesbury, you forget that anyone listens to it, and then they know all about your life. We asked him if he would like to ask us a question. He's often interviewing us about our various projects and things, but we were like, any question, go for it.
So he's given us two. So this is one of the questions. Where in Shaftesbury would you like to be locked in overnight?
Locked in?
Oh, well, I don't know actually, because there's a lot of haunted places in Shaftesbury.
There are a lot of ghosts, yeah.
A lot of cellars.
And apart from the obvious answer, I guess, of a pub.
Yeah.
There's often, there's never lock-ins in Shaftesbury. But I don't know, maybe somewhere with food though.
Yes.
I don't know. Locked in.
Does it mean that though you have access to the food? Or are you just
you're
locked in?
trapped
Did
there.
someone just forget to check and you're stuck?
Well, did you have any thoughts?
No, not really.
I think maybe the arts centre, because our arts centre has a theatre, it has a bar, it has snacks, it has a stage, a sound system, a movie screen, heating.
Yeah.
Art.
And overnight you could probably work out how to use all of those.
Yeah. And a ghost.
Yes.
Ghosts.
Sure, there's many.
And it's right next to I know you can't get out, but it's right next to a coffee shop.
But also it's not claustrophobic, because we've got lots of places to go.
Yeah.
It's got a dance studio.
Yeah, so basically, lock us in. We could actually finish one of our shows. Maybe that needs to happen. Can I pick now?
Yeah, go for it. Do I need to do this?
Yeah, you need to do this. Then I need to go. Okay, so we've had two questions from my father, Mr. Paul. I won't give out his name, actually.
Mr. Paul. There we go.
Mr. Paul. For both of you, if there was a dance to describe you, what would it be? Well, for us together. Well, I like a paso doble because it's like, I like the music. You get to have a big, massive, that's the one with the skirt, isn't it? One of you's the bull, one of you's the matador. And we could take turns in that.
Okay.
Because we could swap who was feeling angry and who was flouncing around in a big skirt. The colours are cool. It's very powerful but beautiful dance. And that's what we are.
Okay.
So that's what I would say. That's the first thing that came to my mind. What do you think?
Yeah, as a duo, that could work.
What about individually then?
Well, I'd just be some contemporary dance where I could be
You
in
would.
bare feet and just throw myself to the floor.
In a beautiful white dress.
Yeah, throw myself to the floor
Yeah.
whenever I felt like it.
Are you saying you don't do that? You refrain from throwing yourself
me
on the floor
space.
more than you need to, I suppose.
And would you still stick with your paso doble?
Well, no, then I'd go a bit more tango if I was on my own.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I had someone nice to tango with.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question. Thanks, Daddy.
Lovely. Pick another one.
Okay. The lovely Molly sent us a question on Instagram. Thank you for being the only person who knew how to use that feature. Young person, that's why. What is your favourite song to sing together?
Oh, our favourite song to sing together. Well, for me, it's one of our new ones. Actually,
Ooh.
probably a couple of our new ones. I really like That's Life
Yes.
when we sing it together.
Because it's different for us. And actually, we sound all right singing it, don't we?
And I like Me and My Shadow. Because we've worked so hard on it.
Yeah, and we still sort of know the words.
We know some of the words.
I still like Liquid Lunch as a song to sing together because of the story. So basically all of those are storytelling. We like a storytelling song. So Liquid Lunch by Cara Emerald always leaves some room to play. You can have a nice dance to it, tell a good story. There's a nice instrumental where you can mess around, which we do like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my answer. Good question. Thank you, Molly. Okay.
So this is from Marie. I've just ripped it apart.
Okay.
Marie,
who sent in 3 questions, all of which we'll probably answer because they're all quite good, aren't they?
So Marie sent us a couple of questions. One of them refers to our latest podcast with Benedict Hurley. And she says, Ben Hurley said, own your own shit and do it anyway. What is your shit that we have to own?
So I guess owning your shit means, do you think that means your faults?
Yes, well, it came from the fact that we were apologising almost for who we were at the beginning of the episode. We said, we are part of Bell Street.
Yes.
And he said, why are you part of it? Because isn't it just the two of you? Which he was quite right. And so we are not part of Bell Street.
Unless Paloma Faith joins.
Yes, but we are still Bell Street.
Yes.
Bell Street. Created it. So yeah, actually creating what we are. Like when we said we are a production company or a theatre company, whatever we're going to be that week. But that's what we are. And actually owning our own shit is being able to go out and say to people, I am a performer. When they say, what do? You say, I am a performer, I'm a singer, whatever, but actually owning that as a job and a title. Question from
our international listener,
Swedish Phil.
Yes.
Who is not Swedish, but he lives in Sweden at the moment.
And we like that because that makes our podcast international. Hi, Phil. Thanks for listening.
Right, so this is my second attempt at recording this without it sounding really cringy. So my question is, what would you say to the creatives out there who don't do their creative thing, you know, whether it's music or art or whatever, but they don't do that as their like full-time job? You know, they don't make a living off it. They maybe just do it sort of alongside their 9 to 5 job. They just sort of do it in the evenings, weekends or whatever. Because I feel a little bit like you guys talk a lot about sort of the importance of taking the plunge and sort of, diving headfirst into being a full-time creative. But what if that's not you? And what if that sort of doesn't really suit your life to do that?
What would we say to someone who that's where they were creatively? I would say all the same things we've been saying, really. I mean, I think we talk a lot about taking a risk and just jumping in and doing it. And a lot of the people we interview are people who have done that. But I don't think that the process is any different for people who aren't doing it full time. I think that the fear is still there. The importance of taking the risks and of carving out time, of finding your tribe, of facing your fears and doing it anyway. All of those things are still really important if you choose to have your creativity not as your main job. And I don't think that makes it any less either, any less important, any less creative. I mean, in some ways, we are really fortunate that at the minute this is the main thing that we do. How sustainable it is, who knows, you know? We're just kind of taking this opportunity at the minute to do this. And I think that if that's not what you want to do and that's not something you can do at the minute, that's not the main message of what we want to make sure people know. The main message that I feel like we want people to know through this podcast is, if you have that desire, if you have an idea, make it happen. Give it them some space and give it some time and see what happens with it. And that doesn't have to be a full-time thing. Ever, you know, it might never be a full-time thing. It might not be part of your goal. It's still really important to have people who are making creative things, because it's so important for yourself and who you are. If you're a creative person, you need to give that energy and time.
And also, anything creative that is going to bring you joy is important to give it that time. So whether it's a hobby as well, which then maybe takes the pressure off having to earn a living from it, that deserves just as much space mentally, with all your passion to put into it. Just being able to step into something and have it as your own idea, whether you're doing it full time or whether you're just doing it when you feel like it. Because we have also, this has been a second job, a second thing for a long time. It's only in the last few months that everything's really ramped up, because like you said, we've got an opportunity where we can, but that could change.
Oh, nice. And Jason talked about that in his, when he was on our podcast. Jason Ward did say, you know, he's gone off and he's teaching himself about creative writing because he wants something that's creative, that's not his job. And I think that's really important. And this used to be, for me, my thing that made me feel relax. I could zone out and do that. And now I love it in a really different way, because it's not the thing that makes me feel relaxed anymore. Because this is my job now. And so I've had to, this year, I've just started it's not silly. I've started trying to paint more or just write a little bit and just try and do creative things that have nothing to do with Bell Street or any of our projects. And that's been a really nice way, because then your mind does go quiet and you do feel you have that joy again. And I love it when we're creating shows and things like that, but it always comes with a certain amount of pressure and a certain amount of expectation, and it feels like we're working at something we love, but it does feel like we're working. And so I think it's really important to have something that is a hobby and is a joy. Do we think we answered that?
Mm-hmm.
He's an excellent drummer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an excellent drummer, musician.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Oh, a question from Jason Ward, who we have just spoken about. Which Sondheim character do you each most identify with? He is a big Sondheim fan, isn't he?
He is a big Sondheim fan. Are you a big Sondheim fan?
Do you know, I love a lot of the music, but I don't know much about the musicals or the characters, actually.
Yeah.
I've sung a lot and I've heard a lot, but actually I don't know an awful lot about his works. What about you?
I think probably the same. I think I would be a basic Sondheim fan.
One of my most favourite songs is Being Alive, which is from Company.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to sing that, and I've never had an opportunity or not put it forward. So that's one of my very favourites.
Let's make an opportunity for that to happen.
Yeah.
I sang Could I Leave You from Follies. Now, I haven't seen Follies, but I think I probably, although I feel like I'm maybe too young, but I would relate to all of those characters. They all just feel a bit let down and cross, but also like, let's go. And so I think as characters, I haven't seen it, so I don't know the story, but most of the songs I hear from there, I'm like, yes, absolutely, I relate to that.
Yeah. I saw it actually. My sister was in it. I saw it in London, and I didn't know much about it before. And yes, it's got some excellent numbers in it.
Also, I feel like Sweeney Todd, I have watched a lot, and I feel like I could get on board with Mr. Todd, to be honest. and Mrs. Lovett. Just slap some meat and some pies, go crazy in love with somebody, and like I do like how dark his stuff is. So yeah, Follies, I feel like give us a few years, we'll put on a 2-woman show of Follies. Yeah, we sang Merrily We Roll Along, which I don't understand. But yeah.
It's quite complex, some of it, isn't it? The old, but it's
well, I hope that that's, lived up to your love of Sondheim, Jason, because with our basic knowledge.
We're going to research Sondheim a bit more.
Yes.
And give you a look at the characters, give you a better answer at a later date.
If someone cares to sponsor this podcast, we could afford to go and see more Sondheim. Just putting that out there. So this is Kerry from Alfred Radio in Shaftesbury. We should have got him to voice note those.
Yes.
He's got a great presenter voice.
Yes, well, this is a great question.
This might be my favourite question.
Yeah. So Kerry says, if you were going to bury a body locally, where would you do it? Asking for a friend.
Is the friend dead or alive?
Well, I feel this is giving it away, though. If we actually, people will know where to look.
Yes, but neither of our faces lie anyway, so if we needed to... Well, this is what I was going to ask. Do we like this person or not? Have we killed them? Have they just died? I don't know, because that's different.
I think that we've probably killed them.
We've killed, it's likely.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be burying them.
Fair enough. Okay. I mean, the bottom of my garden.
I was just about to say, your garden would probably be a safe bet.
Yeah. No one's getting there, are they?
No, and no one would think to look.
No. They can't even be bothered to trim the trees or fix the walls. So yeah, I think maybe the bottom of my garden would be a good, if we could get the body there.
Well, we've lugged a lot of things around between us.
Yes, in heels.
In heels, that's it.
The other thing is there are a lot of there's a very old spooky graveyard, which dates back all the way to the plague, and I always feel like you could hide a body in there quite well
underneath the huge.
It's already a graveyard. Yeah.
Huge yew tree.
Yes. Is a graveyard a bit predictable though?
Well, like you say, it's out of the way, and no one really goes in there, do they?
Because neither of us have a patio to go under the patio, do we?
Not only have very small bit of patio
under the stage at the art centre while we're locked in.
Right. Yeah.
2 birds, 1 stone.
But it's empty at the moment.
You have to concrete it in, wouldn't you, rather than just because it would smell.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, or would we?
Absolutely.
Because what if we do actually need to kill someone, Kerry? Don't be all over the news. The local news.
Well, we'd go to Kerry first then.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
Fine.
Thanks for that.
That was a good question.
Go.
Please let us know where you'd bury someone. Actually, I don't know if we need to know that. No. Marie again. Marie is brilliant. at engaging with our podcast. She's always got a comment on the bottom of one of our posts. She always asks very great questions about it. So we love it when people chat about our podcast online. Makes it feel worthwhile that someone's listening. So thank you, Marie, for being a great listener.
So she says here, you talk about the landscape having changed, e.g. social media necessary. What do you like about it having changed, and what do you hate?
Well, I like that it's much more, from my perspective, I don't want to seem ignorant, but much more inclusive. So you know, people talk more about, you can be you have dancers of varying sizes, you have actors of all different nationalities and backgrounds, and in a lot of ways visually it seems to give the impression that it has changed. And you don't have to be a typical sort of person to be a creative. Or in some ways I really like the way that you don't have to go down a typical route to get a show out. You can go through social media. You can, you don't have to work your way up through the right people and the right theatres. You can be independent and take things places. Will you make any money? I don't know, but I like that about it, that's changed. I've only really been in it, feels like, for a few years really. So being on the other side of, rather than just enjoying the arts, being on the other side of being in it and trying to make it and trying to create stuff, I still feel a bit ignorant, to be honest, on how things have changed and how they're improving.
Yeah, and it's still trying to find the right contact, the right way to go about something, even though there are lots of different ways.
There's still a lot of locked doors.
There are, and it is still, I think, a lot about who you know a lot of the time. But there is more acceptance. And when she asked about social media, that also has so many wonderful qualities, but it's also an exhausting process to have to keep showing up for what people want. And lots of people are coming away from social media because it's too much, but you still have to keep showing up for what everybody wants.
Yeah, so Ed Sheeran not having a phone, well, good for you, because you're already very successful. You don't need to promote your music. You don't need to get noticed. It's very easy to give your PA your phone and not have a phone. That's not a direct message. Love you, Ed, I suppose. But if you're already successful and you say, I don't have a phone, well, that's because you already have an agent, you already have stuff. The fact is, if you want to get anywhere, you have to push yourself online, because that's what sells tickets. That's what gets you noticed. It's very hard to be noticed in another way. So that is really frustrating. But it means that more people get to be visible than used to. That is something we talked a lot about in last week's episode as well. I reckon Marie had been listening to that. We talked a lot about social media and the advantages and disadvantages of having a lot of listeners, followers, and that getting you into things, and if that's a good thing or not. Jury's still out on that one. The last question from Marie.
All right, Marie, thank you for yet another great one. Journey from being scared to doing it anyway. What are you not scared of anymore?
Ooh. Well, I instantly got a picture of us in Hue, and in those massive pink dressing gowns, shower cap, Spanx, glasses. I mean, hideous. Hideously brilliant. I mean, you looked beautiful, of course. And I think I'm not afraid of looking stupid anymore. I think. I mean, that might be challenged, but definitely, we were definitely afraid of not being taken seriously, and to do that we had to be very serious, and I'm not afraid of looking stupid anymore. We look stupid all the time, and I don't think I'm afraid of this anymore. Talking honestly about our journey, and I'm not afraid of people knowing that we don't know what we're doing most of the time. Thankfully, because we have publicised that quite a lot.
I've just got that song now in my head from, is it from the last 5 years? I'm not afraid of anything. It's a good song. Yes, definitely not being afraid to put ourselves out there now. We had to step over. It's all about stepping out of the comfort zone, isn't it? And then going, oh, this is all right.
Yeah. We have done that a lot as a pair the last few years, definitely. So when something is scary, we have pushed through, and it has become not scary.
And we're doing that at the moment with our new projects as well. We have pushed through with this new, certainly the Rat Pack gals that has evolved and felt scary, but actually I don't think we've allowed it to be as scary as it could have been. And soon what we won't be scared of is tech.
That is our goal. It's always been one of our goals to not be scared of tech. But we are. But won't be.
No. Learning curve.
And I listened to something the other day in a shock move. I was listening to a podcast, and can I remember who it was? No. But they said that it's really good idea when you're feeling anxious and scared about something to flip the language and say, I'm really excited to blah. I'm really excited, because you can't get rid of the anxious energy. You can't get rid of the fear. So you have to call it something else. And that then helps you approach it in a different way. And I noticed that I said it on that reel the other day. I said, I'm so excited about this project because blah, 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 blah. And I am, but I'm also really nervous. But it's much better to say I'm excited, because it's still true. And anxiety and excitement are so close together, aren't they, in terms of how they feel in your body. So if you call it excitement, it turns into excitement, and you have a much greater chance of success, scientifically, apparently. I've retained that, but not who said it. So I think things that we could say how excited we are to learn about tech and be in charge of our own shit. Own our shit and be excited about tech. Great. Didn't we do the song? I'm so excited. Did we do that in the end?
We have done it a couple of times, yeah.
Okay. Well, this leads nicely on to our question from our lovely guest, Bryony. I think she was teasing us.
My question is, have you reached out to the National Trust yet?
And that's what's good lead on, because what we are still scared of is rejection and phoning people.
We haven't reached out to the National Trust. She suggested that we contacted the National Trust to go and sing at their many sites. She actually said around Easter, but we're a bit close to that now. But that is it's a very good point, and not just the National Trust. All these places that we should be reaching out to.
Yeah, because she was talking about the advantages of, we were talking about, it's a disadvantage of not being in London. She said, see it as an advantage of all the things you can do. Yes. And about ringing people and just going and talking to people. And so, not yet, Bryony.
But it's on our list.
It's on our extensive
and
to-do
actually
list.
Since we talked about that the other day, my phone is only showing me National Trust Easter egg hunts.
Because we go into playthings on YouTube and it really wants you to go, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's the universe saying you have to go. In our defense, we have been putting all our energy into making sure we really know what these new packages are, so that we can approach places. And so approaching venues and places about gigs has been on the back burner, because we found it quite you wouldn't believe how all consuming it is. And especially if you add in the podcast, which actually is a lot of work, and you're interviewing people and editing and recording our own, it just ends up being a lot of time, doesn't it? So it's on our priority. Approaching venues hasn't been high, but it's creeping up because the other things are coming off. So
get May out the way. Contact in June for whatever that looks like.
yes.
Joni, your
Ten words.
question
To you.
to me, is it? Yes.
Okay, so my question to you is a bit similar to the first question that we had, but it's different. So, my question to you is, after learning what we've learned about the Rat Pack, we've done extensive research on the Rat Pack so that we can tell the story of these men and women. After learning what we've learned about how they were out at parties and they did like impromptu concerts together and they just ran around town having a brilliant time and being very glamorous, who would you have? And this is in your Rat Pack, so you don't have to agree with me. It's not the Paloma Faith question. So who would you include in your Rat Pack?
Do they have to be a celebrity?
They can be literally, they will say yes. Whoever you ask will say
Anybody.
yes.
Okay. Do they have to be alive?
Let's say yes.
Okay. Because I'd probably just have the original Rat Pack.
Yeah, because I thought you'd go there.
Because the more research we've done about that whole time.
I don't know, they sound bossy.
Well, yeah, you'd have to get it right, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but oh goodness, who would I have in my Rat Pack? I would have. Do you know what? I'd have you. I can't leave you out, so you can be in the Rat Pack.
Yeah, good.
And then I'm going. Oh, I don't know, because it's such a different style as well. Now,
And they don't have to be singers because they weren't all singers, were
No.
they?
no, I think I'd probably have Elton John in my Rat Pack
That'd be a brave choice.
because you would be able to put on a good show.
Yeah,
He has a lot of parties.
he does. He's quite dramatic.
Yes, good costumes. Quite influential.
Loaded.
Yeah. I'd have Bryan Adams.
Would you?
Yeah. I am no, it's not a secret. I am a Bryan Adams fan, and I'd like to hang out with him.
Okay.
My thinking process is boring here.
That's what editing's for. Would you include David Hasselhoff or not? If he's going to be fighting against Bryan Adams for your attention.
I was going to mention David Hasselhoff, but I feel that I talk about him too much.
Well, we'll get him on the podcast. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he'd be that interesting.
Well, we can't have him on the podcast now.
Only if he
So it's just you, Elton, and Brian, and me.
And you. We could have David Hasselhoff, but only if he was in Knight Rider Days.
Right.
Okay, let's take him back there.
Fair.
I feel like we should have another woman, let's throw in French and Saunders.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
Let's put them in.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
They'd be flighty anyway, in and out.
Yeah,
but they would be good in a concert.
Yeah. So we'll leave it there with that.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Do you want to answer the same thing? Have you got?
Well, when I was obviously, then I thought about it, and I didn't think of any men.
No. Okay.
I was thinking actually Paloma Faith.
Okay.
Jamila Jamil. She's really outspoken.
Yeah.
Glamorous. Love her. I think Paloma Faith, and then I do think someone like Miranda.
Yeah.
But also someone quite like knowledgeable and older. Like I would have had like Maggie Smith or someone.
Mm-hmm.
Just to keep everyone grounded, but is still brilliant.
Yeah. Judi Dench.
Yeah, someone like that. Someone from that ilk.
Yeah.
Maybe what's that? Miriam
Margolyes.
Yeah. She might be a bit much. Sod it. Yeah. So, but I didn't actually think of any men. Obviously you.
I'm not a man.
No. Obviously you're in it.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Well,
my dad would be quite fun. Your dad would be brilliant in it.
Yeah.
Let's have our dads in.
Let's have our dads in as well.
Fine.
Gosh, that would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be brilliant. Your dad and Miriam, what's his face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, another question.
From Brian Adams. Oh no, not Brian.
That would
Adams.
be good if he'd.
Other Brian, thank you so much for sending in your questions. We do appreciate it.
If you again had to have a third member, which fictional character would you have in your group?
So all these people we've got to include at the minute.
You know, we quite like being a duo.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got to have someone else in.
Fictional.
Well, they don't have to sing. They could be
No.
a backing dancer.
Yeah.
Or
Or a manager.
yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, fictional.
Well, who do you like in fiction? Because I really like Jane Eyre, but I don't think she'd be much. I don't think she'd be much fun. No, let's not have her.
Depends what sort of
She's
gig.
little as well. I think Ursula, the sea witch.
Oh.
I think she'd be fun. She'd be fun, and I've seen a show where she's played in drag, and I think that would be fantastic. And then she'd also have powers.
Yeah, but would we just be her backing singers though?
No, but let's pretend that she's not singing.
Okay.
So she could sign us magic contracts, give us song.
Oh.
So we're the Ariel, but a little bit more not. She likes us
Yeah.
more
Yes.
because no one's trying to
She's not going to steal our voices.
steal Prince Eric. No.
No. Can't think of anyone.
Maybe
fictional.
Bridget Jones, because she would probably get things wrong a bit more than we did, so we'd feel better about ourselves.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Should be.
And she can't really sing very well.
No, but she'd probably be quite a good MC.
Yeah. Would you just have Knight Rider?
Well, let's stick with Ursula for now, or Bridget Jones.
Ursula or Bridget Jones?
Both.
The banter would be brilliant between those two anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, and they
Be
can
amusing.
choose their jobs. So my question to you, Joni, was if you could do any other job, either alongside this or instead of, what would it be?
I would really love to. I think these jobs are quite similar, but this probably shows how little I. Oh, three things. One of three things.
Mm-hmm.
So one, I've always wanted to run a brilliant venue. Not
I'm
run.
going to say
Not
run.
No. Run a brilliant venue. If that would be like a realistic job. Like, so it's not that realistic. Run a successful, brilliant venue, preferably in an old church.
Okay.
Like that had arts, had a bar, had events, all of those things. I think I'd be really good at the kind of creative side of running something like that. Or I'd love to manage somebody. I think I would be really good at like making sure people, I think I'm a good cheerleader of people. So I think that I could be like, come on, let's do this. And I've got you this. And I think I'm good at talking other people up. And I would like to do that. I think that would be fun. Or I'd love to produce in theatre. I'd love to do that with more money.
So all three things are actually doable, aren't they? All
Yeah.
within the same thing.
But I think yeah, that's I've always wanted to do what I'm doing now, but I didn't ever envisage it to look like this. So it's hard to think of something else. But all I think I loved when I loved directing. I don't think I'd be a brilliant just producer, but I love being involved in creating things. So they're the three things that I would like to do. If I could do any of the other things. Good. Yeah. What about you?
I always, if I could do anything, would want to write film music,
Really?
film scores. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get back to those piano lessons then.
That's right.
Yeah. Can't wait for that because then we can make a film.
Okay, we have a message from Ethan.
Ethan has been fantastic at helping us develop our shows recently. We've brought him in to I was going to say be our third eye. That's not
Sort of.
Is he being the third member?
We haven't even brought him up as being
No.
a third member.
No, we'll keep him a secret. But he's been really great at helping us question why we're doing things and develop things. So actually, we should probably get him on here and we could chat through that process at some point.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. He's sent a question. I can't remember what he said.
He has. So here we go.
Dear Bell Street, I think you're really funny and really obviously very professional. But could you tell me what happens when one or both of you forget the words and you haven't agreed how you're going to cover that before the show goes up? Loving your work. Signed, A Fan.
Well, how rude. As if we would ever forget our words.
Well, he has brought that up because he did notice that at a gig once. What was his comment? I love it when you both sing at the same time, but different things.
Yeah. We were singing All I Want for Christmas.
Yeah.
Which actually is a harder song to learn than you think. And we have video evidence of it. It's actually a clip we have. And we're just both singing away various versions of the verse. But that, in that case, we obviously decided to push on through with what we thought was right. And
well, we do. I think we have a bit of a sign. I think without it ever really having talked about it. With if one of us, well, certainly I know if I blank. I mean, I blank often with my lyrics. Just that they go. I don't know where they go, and I'm like, so just a little pullback from the microphone. Just to say I'm not going to sing this.
yes,
Tends to mean
it is. Yeah, that is the language between us that means nope, don't know. And then normally the other one can recognise that.
Yeah. Yes, we do quite well at winging our way out of things. And yeah, still looking as if we meant to do that.
But do you know what? It was a really freeing thing when I realised that professional people forget their words too. Of course, it's not something that you can repeatedly do. I've also sat through that where people repeatedly forget their words, and that's really frustrating. But I've been to see people I really respect and they'll mess up their words and then just laugh, acknowledge it, move on. Everyone does it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the setback from the mic and that is a sure sign that. But it's when we both do it, and you might look at me and I might look at you, and we're both like,
just silence.
We'll do the Bell Street two-step.
Yeah.
Or now we have petticoats, we might do a little swish.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we're extra swishy, the words might be extra messy. At least the song is only 3 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the advantage of a song.
And you can ooh.
Yeah.
When in doubt.
Yeah.
Ooh, la.
We do have an emergency kazoo as well, yeah. That we can get out, whip out if needed, and blow on that. Thank you, Mark, for sending in a question. We interviewed Mark in episode 2 of this season, Mark and Gemma from Coda. So yeah, thanks for sending one in. I believe he's on a train.
Right, Mark, we've got a little video from you. That's lovely.
So my question for you is to do with travel, actually. It's in 2 parts. The first part is, what is the furthest you've travelled so far to do a gig? And then the second part of the question is, what is the furthest you would like to travel? Have you got a destination you'd actually like to do? Or are you just going anywhere, basically?
Well, yes, of course, we'll go anywhere where the money is right. That is just the answer to that question. But let's not be as straightforward as that.
So, where's the furthest we've been?
The furthest we've been is probably North Yorkshire presently. And we did break down on the way, not mentally in the car.
Although it was close.
It was close because then we broke down in the car. On the way there, we had to wait for the AA for about 4 hours and then raced into the venue, slammed our microphones down and started singing straight away. So we were very grateful to have left enough time.
Yeah.
And
yes.
furthest we'd like to go. Well, on our world tour, we have 2 specific destinations that we're going to try and make happen. So we'd love to go to Adelaide because in Australia, because they have a brilliant fringe cabaret festival, which we would love to be part of. And also our friends Mark and Ruth live there, so we'd love to go and see them.
Yeah.
And
also we would like to go to California because my lovely cousin lives there, and we've said we're going to see her, but she always says that they'd love us.
a gig is a gig.
Yeah. And so, that's they're on our lists at the moment. Yeah.
In a little situation.
We'd also like to go to Cork to go and see Jason.
We do want to do a bit, because my family are from Cork. Half my family on my dad's side. So, you know, we got roots there. Do you remember after a gig in, I think it was a Breezy Ridge, a lady came up afterwards and she was going to fly us to Italy for was it her birthday?
Yeah.
She was convinced, and we were convinced it was going to happen. They were going to fly us to Italy. And this is why you shouldn't listen to people who love what you do when they're drunk. Because we genuinely got excited. We thought we were going to get a gig in Italy. So, you know, maybe we should try and make that bit happen as well.
All to come.
Yes, but no limits. We'll go anywhere.
From Mr. Paul,
My dad.
is there anything you both haven't told the other?
That's like that. Have you seen that challenge online that goes, we listen and we don't judge? And then you have to be like, I've thought of something that I think you wouldn't be cross with me about.
Okay, go on then.
So we often rehearse at my house, and then we'll often like arrange a time to start, and then quite often that time won't be the time that we start. So what I do is set myself a challenge of how much housework I can do in between the time where we would start rehearsal and the time where we do start actual rehearsal, and then I'll just race around, set myself a little like a challenge Annika situation, and then when you come, I stop, and that's my housework for the day.
Is that why this room looks like this?
Because you were on time.
I was on time.
Yeah, the times you come and there's no the dishwasher's not done.
Sometimes I am on time.
You are.
Surprises everyone, including myself. But
that's my little game I play. I've never told you about.
Anyway.
I do like a challenge, and I like a deadline, and I don't like to do too much housework. So.
Yeah, I know that. I don't know.
I thought it was a really mean question, actually.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, something that you didn't know, I told you, which was about my skill as a bell ringer.
Yeah, you have had a lot of confessions recently. Yeah, I didn't know you rang bells, but no one on the podcast knows that.
No, I can.
Susan shocked me in that. Well, we found out that she used to do bell ringing, and then we found out this was on the radio show, and then we found out you don't ring bells in churches like this.
Not all of them.
You ring them like this. Like milking a cow.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then we've decided to go on a little mission to go and find the nearest bells and ring them.
I could probably pull a few more things out.
I think
could surprise
I
you.
think if at this point when we share so much, if we haven't told each other something, it's probably just better left that way.
Yeah.
I haven't told you today how much I appreciate you and love working with you.
Fingers crossed.
No.
Well, the feeling is mutual.
So thank you so much if you sent in a question.
Yeah.
We do genuinely appreciate it, and like we say all the time, we're so grateful that you take time to listen to this podcast. It's a labour of love for us, and we are learning as we go. So if you've stuck with us through all of that, we are so grateful, and we hope that you are getting at least some inspiration, or at least some ideas,
Or just a laugh.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can laugh at us.
Yeah, please do. So we're going to leave you alone for 8 weeks. And in that time we will be, well, actually we've recorded half the guests for next season already, and they are great. So we're going to be creating season 4 over the next 8 weeks. So please do let us know if there's a subject you really think that we should cover. Just send us a message, because we're always looking for ideas.
Yeah.
And yeah, please keep sharing it and talking about it, because it makes a difference.
So, whatever you're doing, whatever your creative product is, and your passion,
While we're away, just do it anyway. I've just thought, have I got saurine in my teeth?
No.
Okay. Because that would be really annoying to do a whole thing with like a black raisin tooth.
look like Eponine.
Eponine.
You look like
Yeah, before she cuts off her hair, but has lost her. Does she go teeth first or hair first?
and
I didn't just roll my eyes at you. I thought a child was coming in. I did a very definite eye roll then, sorry. This feels like a news reading.
yes.
Thank you, and good night.